Welcome to the Caregiving Podcast. I'm Inga.
And I'm Julie.
And long story short, we have Caregiving. We are two momtrepreneurs who have built an in-home care business from the ground up, guided every step of the way by God's care and fueled by agape love. Almost 14 years later, we felt called to create this podcast as a resource for families with caregiving needs. Whether you care for a family member or are looking for advice on professional caregiving, we want this to be a platform to support you.
Each week, we will come to you with encouraging stories of families who have found the right balance for their loved ones, tips for how to care for them and you, and much more. We hope you continue to join us each week as we share in this exciting new journey together.
Hello, Sunshines, and hello, Julie.
Hello, Inga.
How is ya today?
You know,
Still distracted by the cat butt print on the table?
I'm distracted and I am trying to pull it together today.
Please do. Didn't you already have to tell someone that you couldn't get your poop in a group, essentially?
Yeah.
And that's the cleaned up
yes,
version?
when they asked me what the problem was, I said, well, to be honest with you, I just don't have it together today. And he went, oh. They're not, people are not used to it when you're just straightforward and honest. I just don't have it together. I'm falling apart. If you really, would you like me to tell you what my problems are?
Oh, no.
This is why your schedule is screwed up today. But just today, I'll pull it together.
Yes. No, basically it's because you take the fight out of it, right?
Yeah,
if someone wants to fight with you and you're like, you know, I just screwed up. I just don't have it together today. And what are they going to say? You can't fight with that.
He was silent. And I was like, well, I'll take that as a win.
Nice.
And then I promised to get it together.
Okay, so well, after this.
Pull it together, Julie.
Try to be not totally together on the podcast because it's more fun when you're a little loose cannon-y.
Well, loosey-goosey.
Yes. I am a little bit nervous, though, because the blinds are open behind me.
Yeah.
And to be honest, since we're being honest, sometimes I lose you there.
I know.
Sometimes you'll start looking out the window.
Squirrel.
And then I'm like, what is going on behind me? And then I want to look, but, somebody's got to keep it together.
Oh, Inga,
I'm just kidding.
Lucky to have you. You keep me together. There you go. There you go. I'll be serious.
Okay. Anywho.
Yes.
Hey, do you use sunscreen?
Most of the time. And my mother is like the sunscreen goddess. And so she's always harping on me.
Yeah.
And I try to remember. I've even been getting the Olay with sunscreen.
Oh, yes.
Just because it's automatically on there. But as I get older, I do start worrying. Maybe it's a little too late to be worried about my segs and my bags.
Well,
I'm going to start looking. What is that one pup? The pug? Is that what he does? Everything starts squishing together. Got to get the eyeball lift and everything. But that may not be because of sunscreen. Sorry, squirrel.
Okay. Alyssa's losing it over there. She's like, what is happening?
Anyway, back to sunscreen. What about you?
No, not like I should.
Yeah.
And as we'll find out as we go through this discussion today,
yes.
What I am using is probably the least favored of the options. But I guess I'm hoping that something's better than nothing. And I think, doesn't a lot of makeup have like sunscreen stuff in it?
I think they started doing it because people were just not taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So usually when I think about sunscreen is when I start to feel like,
hot.
no, it's too late.
I'm on fire.
Yes. Yeah. So not as good as I should, for sure.
Yeah. Yep. No, we need to be using more sunscreen. We're going to talk about that today.
Yeah.
And all of the myths and the do's and the don'ts. I'm very excited because it is now summertime and we need to take care of ourselves.
For sure.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's roll into our verse. And today we have Song of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 7. And it simply says, "You are altogether beautiful, my love. There is no flaw in you."
Ta-da! I picked that verse today because we're talking about skincare and faces, and as we age, what's going to happen to our skin. And you know what? Once again, wrinkles are beautiful. What did they say? There's something about laugh lines. They show life.
Yes.
And some people fight it really hard. Other people like me are just letting it all hang out and just
As we go through some of the discussion, I mean, there's a lot of things that people do.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm all about washing my face and putting some moisturizer on. I don't know about the lasering and the burning and the Botoxing and all of that stuff. I'm not sure that I'm quite there yet.
No,
maybe.
no. I've been low maintenance my whole life when it comes to skincare. I have had friends that were like, "I'm selling this product. You should do it." And I'm like, "Oh, what is it?" "Well, it's 17 steps." I'm like, "Well, I'll do 2 maybe."
Yes.
I'll wash and I'll put some cream on and we're good to go.
Mine used to be Irish Spring bar soap and like St. Ives lotion. I've upgraded since then.
Oh.
But I have a friend, Taryn, and she was like my high school bestie. She has the most beautiful skin of any human that I have ever, and she looks so young.
Oh.
So young. And she just has taken really good care of herself.
Yeah.
I think she does the 17 steps. Maybe not. Maybe it's only 2, but she is religious about it and she's beautiful.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Patsy, grandma.
Yes.
She's got her cream and she's always lathering herself up but she's just beautiful at 94.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Cheryl, mother, she's just radiant.
She really is.
But you know what Cheryl's big thing besides sunscreen is?
The hat.
The floppy hat.
Yep.
She makes everybody at the Kentucky Derby look like nothing because she wears a floppy hat every day.
Yeah. It's not just for events.
No, she is taking her skin so seriously and lectures me every day. If she knows I'm outside, she goes, "Are you wearing a hat?" "I'll go get one, Cheryl." Even though you're 70 miles away, I'll go get a hat on so I don't get in trouble because of my mama.
Yeah, we don't want to be in trouble with our mamas.
Oh, boy.
It's smart, though, to do that.
It really is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, listeners, if you have any verses that you'd like to share with us, please email those to thecaregivenpodcast@gmail.com. Let's roll into our uplifting stories. What'd you bring us?
Oh, my word. This one, speaking of self-care.
Yes.
So this 77-year-old woman gets married to herself. I was like, what the what? So anyway, this is the story. And after you hear the whole story, it's not as kind of strange as it sounds. She's adorable. So anyway, Dottie walked down the aisle this past weekend. She celebrated her love for someone who has been there for her through thick and thin, herself.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically, when she told her daughter she wanted to get married, her daughter just, "Mother, yes, let's have this event at the retirement place that she stays." They got the balloons. They got the red roses. They bought her a wedding dress. Well, what it turns out to be is that this woman is always giving so much joy to others. She just thought everybody's going to enjoy this just as much as I. And so, she's so full of life. So they did all of these. They did the cooking. They did everything. And she said, I was nervous, but then I was really happy. She said, when Dottie first had the idea of marrying herself, she thought it might be just one of those things that I normally do to uplift other people in her retirement home that she lives in. I do crazy things around here just to make people laugh. And I was like, oh, great. Am I going to have to marry myself someday? Good Lord, once is enough. But anyway, however, the wedding ended up being a deeply moving experience. And she said white lilies and red roses. But the white lily that was in her hand was used as a metaphor for cultivating self-love. Aww. And she said, everybody takes this outside lily and they live their life and they think they're happy and everything's going to be hunky-dory, but they don't consider the inside, the little petals of the lily inside themselves. That's where God's love flows. Oh. So she did get married once in 1965, but never had a formal wedding. She said her and her ex-husband exchanged vows at the Justice of the Peace, and right after the ceremony, he went to work and I went home. So now romantic. And she said, I wore a black dress, so I was doomed before I got started. Oh, no. So she wished she had always had that big wedding, but thought it was too late for herself. So her daughter helped make her dream come true. And then something that came up in the middle of the story is that she didn't know even how to read until age 75.
What?
Yeah. So this is a woman that gave of herself to so many people, but never took care of herself.
Wow.
So for 75 years, she could not read. People made fun of her because of that and put her down. So what people didn't know is staying up till the wee hours of the night, she actually taught herself how to read.
Oh, wow.
And so she said she's now excited for reading the Bible for the first time.
Oh.
I've learned the Bible through singing songs. Now I'm understanding it as a story.
Oh.
After a lifetime devoted to others, Dottie is focusing on cherishing herself and pursuing her own dreams. I'm at the point in my life where it's about me now, she said. My kids are all good, and my grandkids, one of them is going to have a baby, and I have a set of triplets that all graduated from college, so it's my turn to do what I want to do.
Oh. That really is sweet.
Don't we love Dottie?
We do love her.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
So
Everybody should love themselves that much.
Oh my gosh. Didn't somebody say that to you the other day that they thought I sure liked myself a lot?
Oh, yes. God, who was it? It was somebody talking about...
Doc. It was Doc.
Oh, yes. Yes, because of your birthday. Because he's like, boy, she sure loves herself, doesn't she? And I'm like, heck yeah. You got to love yourself, man. That was funny. Yeah. Well, mine is about 81-year-old best friends who travel the world.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this is crazy. So basically, when Sandy Hazelip proposed a whirlwind trip to her longtime friend Ellie Hamby for their milestone birthdays, basically Ellie was like, yes, she's like jumping for joy at this idea.
Cute.
So she said, Ellie, why don't we consider traveling around the world in 80 days when we're 80?
Oh.
It's amazing. Basically, COVID did stop them.
Oh.
They couldn't do it when they were 80, and so they weren't able to pull off their plan until they were actually 81. But on January 11th of 2023, they started their journey, and they disembarked from their homes in Dallas, Texas. Their first stop was Antarctica.
Oh, my word.
From there, and in just 80 days, the two women packed in a tour de force of the world, which included taking in the northern lights of Lapland at the North Pole, the deserts of Africa, and the great ancient structures of Rome. So these women, they actually met 23 years ago in Zambia while they were on a medical mission. They did sit down with Today, and they did this Zoom interview talking about it. And basically they really thought things out before they left, because they wanted to keep the true purpose of the excursion. And so it wasn't about luxury, it was about adventure. So they really budgeted, and actually they ended up, it only cost them $29, like on average, $29 per person per night.
Oh, my word.
To stay, because they said we were not wanting our comfort zone. We were wanting adventure. And they basically said, you don't have to stay in big chain hotels. In other countries, the best hotels are the local places. They may not be a hotel. They may be someone's home. They may just be small little places, but those are the best buys and the most fun. So they rode in a sleigh that was pulled by Huskies in Finland. They flew high in a hot air balloon. And that was in Egypt. They spent time searching for wallabies in Australia. Then for 6 days, they explored the streets of Bali. And for 2, they braced themselves as they weathered through a rocky ship ride across the notoriously rough Drake Passage. So these, they said there were 20-foot high waves and in this 2-day travel. And basically they said that they recalled doing a rockin' and a rollin' and a slippin' and a slidin' as the waves crashed at the boat. Yeah.
Oh.
So along the route, they became very popular on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Cute. And actually they got followers and comments from all over the world. There was somebody that was from Rwanda that was commenting saying we would love to have you here. And basically somebody that saw it on a news station in Colorado, I had to come looking for you on social media.
Oh my goodness.
Because you guys are amazing. And basically, I guess the grandkids also were just they thought it was great. They were totally amused over the social media popularity. Yeah. And basically they said that mapping out the trip with a dear friend made all the difference when it actually came. So the time that they spent putting it together. And then they said that we've been together for 80 days, 24/7, and we've just had a great adventure. It's just really made us even closer than we were. We both, being widows, kind of found each other and found this friendship. And we both had phenomenal marriages, the best husbands in the world. And then we found the best friends in the world. So thing is, they're ready for another trip, another vacation. There's something near on the horizon, and they haven't announced what it is yet because they're waiting, basically the 80 days and 80 years and 80 days, 80 days and 80 years. So basically they're waiting for the rhyme or the title of what they're going to do before they announce it. But
cute.
Yes. be assured there will be another trip.
See, there you go. There's people that are living outside of the box and just living their best life.
Yep. They said, stay tuned for the next adventure because it's going to happen.
Oh, cute. Yep. Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Well, they probably don't have to plan too much because all these people from social media are like, you got to come here.
Sure.
You do this. Then we'll put you up.
Yep.
Cute.
Probably. I tried sitting differently at the beginning of the podcast, but I just wasn't as comfortable. So, so now am I situated? Good. Okay.
The chair has wheels, so don't get kicked and bucked off.
Oh my gosh. Remember
Not that I would know that.
Funniest thing ever. At the bank, signing very serious financial paperwork, and Julie's chair starts to roll out from under her. She's literally holding herself up by her elbows on the table, as at any moment the chair could like rocket out from behind her. I didn't even know what to do.
I was trying to be cool. Well, I was like, all you got to do is grab the chair. Somebody grab
help
the
me
chair
here.
Because
something bad is going to...
Bad boy hits the ground, it's going to be a problem.
Well, you seem to... I don't think I grabbed the chair.
No.
No. How did I panicked.
I think my little butt cheeks had to slowly...
creep it back up to the table
up and act cool because I was trying not to let anybody else besides you know that I was in crisis mode. I'm going down. She's going down.
Literally going down. The chair is coming out from under me.
I get nervous whenever I see rolly chairs.
Yeah, I'm sure. These ones are pretty good though.
They're still rolly chairs.
Yeah.
They're not great.
I'll say that and then mine will shoot out from behind me. Anyway.
I wouldn't laugh.
I'm sure you wouldn't.
Okay,
all right.
On to the topic.
Yes, the evolution of skincare. Boy,
Yeah.
it's really true as I read through all of this, how things impact you. And ladies and gentlemen, it starts in your 20s. So pay attention.
So don't get lippy, kids. It
Yes.
will happen to you.
It will indeed happen to you. It's
Yes.
interesting how like different phases and different times in your life, what actually is happening with your skin and the different type of products that you can use to help try to balance that.
As I was researching this, it was crazy. We could have gone down a whole gamut of just even products that these people recommend. And it's just such a huge issue, and billions of dollars spent yearly with people trying to find that youthfulness.
Right.
What is it? When you're looking for that,
The fountain of youth?
Thank you.
Okay. You know
that thing.
that thing? Okay, the fountain of
keeps you
youth? Yes.
youthful. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a fact of life. Our bodies change as we age.
Yeah.
There we go. We just summarized it all.
Yeah. Basically. All right, show's over. No.
Hormones, genetics, medications, age-related bone and muscle loss can affect multiple body areas, including the skin. Lifestyle factors like diet and exercise may also make an impact.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Everything we do is impacted by that.
Some of the changes are noticeable, perhaps most notably the appearance of wrinkles and fine lines. Others, like collagen loss, might not be noticeable for decades. And so here's what we're going to talk about, what these dermatologists and researchers suggest doing each decade of your life and starting young. So basically, let's talk about skincare in the 20s.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, when you're in your 20s, for most of us, at least when I was in my 20s, I was not really thinking about skincare, right? Like, whatever. But basically, it's important to know that even then, your skin is changing. Whether you notice it right away or not, it is changing. Basically, your collagen production, did you know that it decreases by 1% each year beginning in your 20s?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the loss of collagen may be contributed to fine lines, wrinkles, and sagging.
I'm trying to figure out how old I am. Minus 1%, minus 20. See, this is why I don't do that math thing.
Don't do it. Just step away from the calculator.
It's a lot. It's a lot of 1%.
Yes.
Dang it.
So sun safety, basically things that you can do in your 20s to avoid speeding up that collagen loss really is protecting yourself from the sun.
Yeah.
And sunscreen is probably the most important factor in that because of the UV exposure. that can contribute to that collagen breakdown. And basically the recommendation, of course, is to use a moisturizing type sunscreen and to also use a broad spectrum. I didn't realize, you always hear about UV, but there's UVA and UVB rays, right? So they're two different things. So you want to use a broad spectrum that actually covers both of those things. And I believe a little bit later on in the article, we're going to talk about what those are, so people will understand. But they can impact you differently. So when you're looking at that sunscreen purchase, make sure you look at broad spectrum because you want to cover both things.
So, sorry. Yeah. So, Callie, 21 years old.
Yep.
She's young, pretty, all of these things. Yep. But she just moved down to Phoenix, Arizona. So this is her first summer in a really darn hot place.
Yes.
And the place that she lives, there's like 4 different pools.
Yes.
And all of this. So, anyway, she has already burned herself.
Yep.
And one of the places was at the top of her shins. And it hurt her really bad. Yeah. And so I was just, we're trying to find a moisturizing lotion for after sun to put on, and all of these things. But I'm already on her going, even this one summer of you being down in Phoenix could really speed things up for you in a way you don't like. Sooner than later, because it does catch up with you.
Yes. Well, and basically they say that, or they recommend that people do talk to like their primary care doctors or dermatologists to do like skin cancer checks each year starting in their 20s, particularly if there's any history of melanoma. And like you're saying, it's just interesting because I think about myself in my younger days and how you want to be tan. And so you take that for granted, like, oh, I'll get burnt once and then it'll turn into a tan and then I'll just start to tan from there. And it's just how bad it is for you to do that.
Oh yeah. I just now turn into, I just get red. I get more wrinkles and I then get more freckles.
And that's how it goes for you.
That's how it goes.
Okay.
So
so you might as well just wear the sunscreen.
Man, it ain't gonna happen for me. Not at all.
Red, wrinkles, freckles.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's so pretty.
Yes. Well, talking about skincare in your 20s as well, acne can still be a thing. I think a lot of people think, generally lump it in with like teenage type things, but it can be a thing still in your 20s. And mostly in your post-teen years, it's due to hormonal, or even at times it can be due to medications and stress. Stress can increase the severity of acne. So basically, if you are in your 20s and you're experiencing this mild acne, try to select a gel-based cleanser. Use toners with alpha hydroxy acids like glycolic acid or salicylic acid.
Yep.
See, I'm not in my 20s, so how would I know that? But I had to talk to somebody who's in her 20s. And then find a moisturizer with hyaluronic acid. Yep. The ones that I can pronounce are the ones that I hear about on TV commercials, I think.
Yes, right?
Yes. And then also consider applying the sunscreen, washing the face twice a day, and also after working out, and using products that are like, okay, what's that word? Non-comedogenic.
Yep.
And sleep. Sleep can benefit your skin in your 20s. Skin naturally replaces dead cells and restores the new ones while you're sleeping. So inadequate sleep can actually deprive the body of its regenerative cycle. So you 20-year-olds who think that you can run on empty all the time, you better get some sleep.
For more than one reason.
Yes.
Yes. But I have also heard with sleep, like don't sleep with your face down on your pillow.
Oh, yeah.
Because it mushes you all up and everything.
God, you just are having
I'm having a mushy day. And maybe it's just because I didn't
But
have
who sleeps with their face on their pillow, like straight down?
Well,
or are you meaning on your face at all? Like on your side?
I don't know. But I've just always heard that.
Oh. Is that what's going on with me? Because I start on this.
This show is so scientific.
Yes, for sure. Certainly. Absolutely. Let's take us away, Julie. Talk to us about skincare in your 30s.
Oh, so in your 30s, you begin to experience fine lines and signs of sun damage.
Yep.
Oh, boy. And fine lines are often the early sign of that sun damage. And UV exposure causes photoaging, which refers to mild changes in the epidermis, which is the outer layer of the skin, and major changes to the dermis, which is the layer of tissue beneath the epidermis. One study reviewed in the article suggests that UV rays are responsible for 80% of the noticeable signs of photoaging in the facial skin of white women. Another study looked at people exposed to UVA light through glass who received more exposure on one side of the face than the other.
That's what,
like when you're driving and you're getting that.
Yep.
Another thing about Callie, which I wanted to say back when I was talking about her, is on her phone in Phoenix, they actually have this thing that besides looking at how darn hot it's going to be, it will tell you the UVA. Is that right? UVA or UVB. The numbers for that day.
Oh, wow.
And she was already saying, oh, the UVA is this. And I didn't know what that meant. But now I kind of do. That depending on probably how hot and how direct the sun is.
And it's one of them can come actually through glass and the other one can't.
Okay, so that's what we're talking with, helping with this photo aging.
Yes.
Okay. Once again, opt for a broad spectrum sunscreen, applying it 15 to 30 minutes before the sun exposure. So that's something a lot of people don't do.
Yeah.
They get to the lake.
Oh, I got to put on my sunscreen.
Put on the sunscreen, but it should actually be on for 15 to 30 minutes prior.
Yes.
And reapply every 2 hours.
And that I don't think I've ever done in my life. Like we go out to work on the farm, we put on our sunscreen once we start to get crispy, and then we never reapply it again. And you're there for what feels like 28 hours in a day. And yeah.
Yeah.
So apply early and apply often.
Yep. Overexposure to the sun during your teens and 20s can contribute to the formation of wrinkles, dark spots, and increase in the likelihood of developing skin cancer. I always remember Grandma Effie. We'd go and visit her, and she'd have a Band-Aid on her face somewhere.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, what'd you do? Well, they just cut a piece of cancer out of there. And so cut, stitch, Band-Aid.
Is Effie on Cheryl's side or Dan's side?
It was Dad's side.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was, to her, it was just something that she did because she was always outside working with her beautiful garden. And so I guess it would freak me out a little bit more. She was awfully very, very nonchalant about it, but I think maybe she was trying not to worry us either.
Well, maybe she just thought, they'll just cut out the pieces here and there and I'll be fine.
Yeah, right. So people may also notice a loss of volume around the cheeks and eye areas because of collagen loss. This is the time to ramp up your skincare routine by adding exfoliation after cleansing an eye cream. And that exfoliation is when you remove the dead skin cells and keep the skin glowing.
So they also recommend vitamin C.
Okay.
So topical use of vitamin C can benefit your skin as it ages, and this includes the ability to increase that collagen synthesis and to reduce free radicals and lighten dark spots.
Oh.
So it basically it'd be like vitamin C serum type stuff.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
I know. And it's interesting as we get more into this, each age group, they're recommending different things. So yeah, anyway, there are also other things that you can do. And that's what we were talking about a little bit earlier, like laser type things. If you're concerned about whatever, I guess the appearance, there's all kinds of different lasers, intense pulse lights, broadband light, fractional or profractional laser. And basically laser therapy is supposed to help with fine lines and wrinkles, enlarged pores, acne scars, and hyperpigmentation.
Yeah. Yes, and some people are really lucky to have lovely skin.
Yes.
And they get through the acne period of their life pretty unscathed.
Sure.
But you do see other people that really have had a horrendous situation, and they do have the pock marks and stuff. And so, there are some ways to be able to take care of those things. So that's good.
Yes.
Because honestly, your skin health is also directly related to your self-esteem.
Of course.
Yeah.
Also maintaining that good sleep routine. So basically don't give up on that. And if you need some help, there's some Monate sleep drops out there that Julie and I have been dabbling with, and they work great.
Yeah.
And hormonal acne can also still impact people in their 30s and 40s. And basically, a lot of this is caused by either fluctuating hormones, stress, or genetic predisposition.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Medications also, but
Yes.
yeah. So, okay, what about skincare in our 40s?
So In your 40s, we're mostly concerned about the loss of elasticity and wrinkles as we hit the 40s. Continuing with sunscreen and vitamin C use can help prevent sun damage and reduce its effects. I wish I knew about this vitamin C 20 years
What
ago.
is this vitamin C?
Yes, I take vitamin C, but don't wear vitamin C.
Right.
Yeah. So skin building blocks. There is a science behind these issues. The skin's supportive tissue has 3 building blocks: collagen, elastin, and
Hyaluronic acid. Yep.
yeah. So the body produces less of these as time goes on, reducing your skin's elasticity. It may be particularly noticeable in the face and neck.
Yeah. Sun damage, so it can start to show in your 40s if it didn't happen to you in your 30s.
Yeah.
Hyperpigmentation can become more prominent during this time as well, and this is largely due to like accumulated sun damage over time. So just know that you might start looking for it in your 40s. I've noticed. Myself, that is.
Yeah. Hydration. Swap out your cleanser for a cleansing balm to hydrate your skin as it cleanses. Your toner may be also rebalance your skin. So use a toner that will replace lost moisture. Also, they recommend a toner with aloe. And so, but then you also have to know your skin. Are you dry? Are you
Like greasy or oily.
greasy, oily? Are you a combination? We're just all a hot mess.
Yes. Don't forget about cell turnover. So exfoliation is the key in your 40s, right? So your skin needs all the help that it can get to stimulate that cell turnover, and it's going to help you maintain a healthy complexion. You can do this with like chemical exfoliators. You can do topical retinol or retinoid can also help those skin cells turn over. It's just really interesting. It's all just stuff that you put on your face, right?
Well, that's why it's a bazillion-dollar industry.
Right.
Because we're always looking for that.
There's a comedian that, and I can't remember off the top of my head who it is, but he talks about basically his young girlfriend. She's like in her 20s or something, and he's probably in his 40s, and how her skincare routine, like it's like her skin is just angry if it doesn't have all of these different things, and you have to have the specific, like all of these different things, steps. Otherwise, her skin's just angry, and he has done nothing with his skin, and it's just perfectly happy and content and doesn't get mad. So, his philosophy is leave it alone. But I don't think I can do that.
My husband is that way. He drives me nuts. He drives me nuts, let me tell you. But I'll go buy the Suave.
Yes.
And I'll usually get the one with aloe vera or whatever. And after a shower, he just puts a big old glob on, puts it on his face. His face is literally white. It just drinks it in. And he's got a baby face.
Yeah.
And but there are times that it doesn't always sink in. And I'm just looking at him and going, I can't look at you until that gets wiped in.
Lotion.
But he just lathers himself. And that's his beauty care. That is it. But, that's not fair because these guys can get away with a lot less than us women. But anyway, he'll give me that look and he'll have all of the white. And I'm just like, no, I'll take you seriously when you're all sucked in, okay?
Yes. Have you heard of peptides?
I have not, but evidently I'm supposed to know about them.
That's something that I hear about on TV, peptides.
But I will tell you, when we were researching this,
yes,
I saw peptides. So this morning I looked at my face stuff and it said whatever, with peptides. And I was like,
yes, that's a good one. We heard that.
And I had no idea I had peptides. And so I'm doing so good and I didn't even do it on purpose.
Fantastic.
Yes.
When peptides are incorporated into skincare products, they tell our body to produce more collagen. So I guess there are a couple various types of peptides, and those would be like carriers. These deliver minerals for wound healing like copper, and they promote collagen production. Signal peptides, these send messages to the skin to stimulate the production of collagen, elastin, and other proteins. And then neurotransmitter peptides, these block the release of the chemicals that cause the contraction of facial expression muscles. So are these peptides, we just hello, peptide.
But they help with sagging skin, the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, and elasticity.
All right.
Well, so check out, they have a whole list of peptide products. Who knew?
Well, we do
I
now.
Can't keep up.
Yep.
It's amazing I look this good.
I was thinking the same thing about myself. It's just remarkable.
Yeah, and I have to do a timeout. Okay. I am dying because earlier you talked about me being distracted.
Yes.
There's a freaking cat behind you on the outside window, standing there doing this, mad that we won't let her in. And I'm supposed to act like she doesn't exist.
You are doing awesome.
Until I broke. That dang bossy dang cat gets me every time.
Now she's going to go away for a little.
She thinks we're going to the door.
Yeah.
So once she finds that out, she's going to double duty down.
Okay.
So ignore her. Let's
okay.
go.
You're doing great, Brubaker. You're doing so good.
Consider Botox. Have you ever considered it?
No, I'm afraid of it.
Yeah.
I don't know, because a lot of times, and this is maybe, I don't know, a lot of times it seems pretty obvious when people have it and like almost unnatural looking to me, but maybe they just didn't get a good Botox.
Or maybe they just got it, so it's harder than normal.
Or something.
I don't know anything about it, but it scares me because it involves needles, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess my experience with it, with visualizing what I think I see when is like real big lips, or like
surprised.
Yes, very surprised.
Surprised.
And so
always.
Maybe it's just been that I've seen not good Botox, because I'm sure.
Well, and so this is the funny thing is Botox actually relaxes your muscles.
Isn't that
to
weird?
Improve expression lines, and filler injections can replace lost volume. But once again, I'm just like, how is that relaxed?
I don't know.
I don't look relaxed. I looked very surprised, and I can't get that off my face.
Yeah, I don't know. But they do use Botox for like people that have like chronic migraines and things like that.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think, but anyway, yeah, if you do it and you enjoy it and it makes you feel great, then
do it.
I support it.
Do it.
Absolutely.
I just won't be. Yeah.
Right.
So lifestyle changes may help. Oh Lord, now they tell us when we're in our 40s. As you get older.
Hey, wait, you're not in your 40s.
Hey.
Oh wait, you meant the section
now,
of the article?
now. We're not getting personal here.
Okay, sorry. I digress.
As you get older, your metabolism slows down and your body retains less water. Yeah, true.
I have been drinking so much water.
Yeah?
And
so you should have glowing skin.
And I don't understand. I haven't even had a moonshine in 2 days and I'm ready to quit.
So
get back on the moonshine.
Be sure to stay hydrated. It includes lots of fruits and vegetables in your diet.
I'm trying.
Cooking with healthy oils and fats and consuming foods high in vitamins and calcium. Limit your alcohol intake because that dehydrates the body, including the skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, here we are.
Shall we talk skin texture in your 50s?
If we must.
As we age, there's a decrease. Okay, so I gave you heck about not being in your 40s, but the truth of the matter is I am in my 40s, but I feel and look like I'm in my 50s. So
whatever.
Anywho, so I'll chime in on this one.
Whatever.
Okay. As we age, there's a decrease in the amount of hyaluronic acid because of the slowed production and increased breakdown of our natural hyaluronic acid. So basically, this can lead to dry skin and loss of moisture, and a decrease in the ceramide levels can also weaken the skin barrier, which may lead to increased sensitivity, redness, irritation, dryness, dullness. I don't know if that's my skin or just my personality lately.
No. I know.
Just
it starts
irritated,
with the skin
dry,
and it just
dull.
goes downhill.
Anyway, so basically they recommend to boost that hydration with topical moisturizing creams that include hyaluronic acid and ceramides to combat the issue. So it's like each time frame, each 10-year period, we've got peptides here, we've got ceramides here, we've got, you know what I'm saying? It's just interesting.
The one thing, it's very funny, and this is not supposed to be a plug for Monet.
Right.
But one of the favorite things I get from your daughter is that spray thingy, refreshing thingy that sprays on your face and then it dries. And then there's also this cute little pink thingy with a dopper. And I always put it here. So I just lay in bed and I spray myself and then I dop myself. And I think I'm really, really fancy.
You are fancy. Yes. And it does feel great.
And then I feel like I've really, really overdone with my self-care.
I've done enough for the next 2 weeks.
See how I take care of myself.
Oh, yes. Interesting that they're no longer talking about vitamin C.
Oh,
in the 50s. So has that ship sailed? Maybe
because I was just gonna go buy some. I was gonna look at all the things, vitamin C and peptides, but maybe it's too late.
You need to work on better personality, less irritation, not quite as dull.
So forget it. Your ship has sailed.
Okay, hormones.
Ugh,
Yeesh.
those things. Menopause may also play a role in the appearance of skin. Fluctuations in hormone levels may cause facial fat.
It's all here.
Oh my God. To redistribute. Is that the word?
Redistribute.
Yes. Potentially hollowing the skin and causing it to appear thinner and more aged. No, it's not. I've got a beautiful set of jowls going on.
It is sliding down.
And I've noticed in some of my podcasts, thank you, Alyssa, I start getting these things right here. So I'm not worried about having that narrow face. I mean, because there are some people that do very much get more
thin and hollowed.
Yeah. Yeah. And then nutrition. I don't want to even talk about it. You are what you eat. There.
Perfect.
Nutrition.
Yeah. Ooh, skincare in your 60s and beyond.
Okay.
So as you move into your 60s, the results of cumulative sun exposure may start to show in the form of dark spots, also in your 40s.
Yes.
Occasionally. While these brown spots reflect prior sun damage that's been done, it's just as important to continue to wear sun protection to prevent the spots from becoming darker. And then at-home skin brighteners and lightening creams can be helpful if you're interested in that. But retinol. Yeah. Retinol is still a key ingredient for those in their 60s and beyond. And, we're back to vitamin C. Retinol and vitamin C could boost elasticity in postmenopausal women.
Oh, there you go.
Okay,
vitamin C,
let's do it. Okay. Additional benefits of retinol on aging skin: increasing the production of elastin and collagen, reducing water loss from the skin, improving elasticity, and absorbing UV radiation.
There you go.
Yeah.
Not just in your face, but whole body skincare.
Apparently, it's a thing.
It becomes especially important to pay attention to your hands, neck, and chest, as these areas will continue to show signs of aging as they lose volume and the skin appears thinner and more creepy. Crepey. Is it creepy or creepy?
I think it's crepey, but it's better when you said creepy.
Am I creeping? That was creepy.
Why do you sigh, Alyssa?
Yes.
This may or may not make it to the actual show. We'll see.
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah.
Lordy. Medications. This is something where they're talking about in office. I thought it was like for people that worked in an office. I was like, I need to read that. But actually going into an office and getting all these special procedures done. Right. Embrace the skin you're in.
Yeah.
It's also important to remember that aging is inevitable.
Inevitable.
Thank you. Above all, focus on accepting yourself as who you are and growing older gracefully. That's what I'm working on.
When it comes down to it, aging is a sign of living.
Yes, love it or leave it.
Yes.
Maybe the worst way to look at it, but
yeah. So the takeaway, like the rest of your body, your skin will likely grow signs of maturing as you get older. Fine lines, wrinkles, unwanted pigment, and loss of elasticity are 4 of the most noticeable and common signs.
Yeah.
Basically, the process starts in your 20s, and that is when the skin begins to lose collagen. So continuing use of sunscreen, adding topicals like vitamin C, retinoids, hyaluronic acid, they can help fight some of those free radicals that cause further skin damage. What's a free radical? It sounds like it'd be fun to be a free radical. I don't know.
You are a free radical.
Yeah. Getting enough sleep, eating nutritious foods, and keeping alcohol intake to a minimum. That doesn't sound like any fun at all. Basically, it is, like you said, it's just essential to remember that it is inevitable and it's okay to embrace the skin you live in.
Yes. Yes. Now we're going to jump into every sunscreen question you've had. We're going to answer it. So the start of summer, here we are, is a great time to reevaluate the sunscreens you have and see what other questions you need answered. Okay.
How much should I pay attention to my SPF? And further down here, we're going to learn what SPF actually stands for because I didn't even know that. But basically, it says that no sunscreen is 100% effective in preventing burning and skin damage. But basically, the SPF, I do believe, can increase the amount of time that you can be outside.
Okay.
And the amount of time spent outside is correlated to that. So basically, they say that an SPF of 100 when compared to an SPF of 50 makes a real difference in protecting your skin against damage and burns, and that at a minimum, you want to be at an SPF 30. Yep. Important to know, and anybody who is a connoisseur of sunscreen probably understands that the higher the SPF, it tends to be a little bit stickier. And so I think sometimes people don't like that. But that extra protection is really good for you if you are going to be out there in the sun for a long time. I've heard before also, and I think it does actually address this a little bit later in the article, but I always heard that like, oh, that the SPF number, the high number doesn't matter because once you get to a certain point, there's more chemicals in it, and that's worse for you than if you were to just be in a lower SPF. But we're going to actually get to some of that as we get later in here, because there are some things that have been researched, and I think some retorts to that, I guess.
Yeah, so SPF actually means sun protection factor.
Yep.
And it's
There it
always
is.
confusing when you go to the drugstore and there's this bazillion many different brands, different kinds, different whatevers, and you're just like, I don't know, I'm just going to grab one.
Let's be honest. In my youth, I would pick based on the smell.
Yes, I was just going to say, or the smell.
Yes.
So SPF measures how much solar energy is required to cause a sunburn when you're wearing sunscreen compared to unprotected skin. So a sunscreen with an SPF of 30, when used as directed, then prevents 97% of the UVB rays from reaching your skin. It's important to remember that while higher SPFs offer more protection, they don't last any longer than lower numbers. So you need to reapply them just as often.
Yes, that is an important thing to keep in mind. Just as we were talking earlier about the applying like every 2 hours or reapplying. So just because you have a higher number does not mean that the protection lasts any longer.
Okay.
Okay, so how does UVA and UVB protection work? So the sun emits different types of light rays, 2 of which are primarily responsible for damaging the sun. It would be ultraviolet A and ultraviolet B. And the UVB rays are shorter and cannot penetrate glass, right?
Okay.
But they are the ones that can cause a sunburn. UVA rays, which can get through glass, are more insidious because they affect your skin beneath the surface. So even when you don't feel it burning, right? Okay, so for that reason, you need to make sure that your sunscreen says broad spectrum or like UVA/UVB protection or multi-spectrum on the label. It's that broad spectrum is a term that you'll see most often in the United States because it is regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. So that's probably what you'll see most.
Okay.
Here.
Okay. They were even talking about sunscreens from other
Countries.
Yeah. And the interesting thing there is they have a wider variety of sunblocking ingredients.
Okay.
And so basically, evidently, what's been even developed in like Japan is starting to catch on here in the U.S.
Wow.
And so they have a different system where it's 1+ to 4+.
Yes.
And so anyway, so you might be starting to see a lot of that.
Yep.
Coming up.
It's probably just as with everything, we just continue to develop and create better things, right? So, so what's the difference between physical and chemical sunscreens? Because there is a difference. You might hear the term physical or mineral and chemical used to describe sunscreens. These terms refer to the active ingredients that are used. So a physical or inorganic sunscreen is actually, there are only 2 inorganic sunscreen ingredients that have been approved by the FDA. That would be zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. It's been thought that the inorganic sunscreens create a protective barrier on the surface of your skin that reflects and scatters the UV rays away from your body. However, recent research suggests that the inorganic sunscreens actually protect the skin by absorbing up to 95% of the rays. So basically, I think about zinc, right? I think about like the white sunscreen. And I think that's what it is, where it kind of stays on top of your skin and then it just absorbs all those rays.
And something that I just thought about because of what you're talking about is there are sometimes when you see a snowboarder or a skier and they've got like the white nose and stuff, because not only are you getting it from from the sun, but if you're in the water, the reflections and the sun, the snow as well. Yes. So you can just get as good of a sunburn when you're swimming or versus skiing at any time.
Yes.
So that zinc oxide, I thought about that just now.
Yeah. Huh. Yep. Chemical or organic sunscreens, all the active ingredients that aren't zinc or titanium are considered chemical sunscreen ingredients. So chemical sunscreens absorb into your skin like lotion instead of forming a barrier on top of your skin. These active ingredients cause a chemical reaction that converts the UV light into heat so that it can't harm the skin. Who figures this stuff out?
I know. I remember when the kids were little, there was a big thing about don't use, if this sunscreen if it has this in it because it hurts kids' skin. And I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember what it was. But then there's always that.
Sure.
You just got to keep reading.
Yes. Well, and as we use products for longer, then we find out like, oh, maybe that wasn't so good for us. So probably someday somebody 100 years from now will be listening to this podcast episode, hopefully, and going, those ladies didn't know anything.
Not a darn thing.
None of it still applies.
Yep.
Yeah.
How often should I apply sunscreen? This one gal that's a doctor said she wears it every single day of the year. I brush my teeth in the morning and I put on my sunscreen. I bet she's got beautiful skin. Whether you're spending the afternoon in the sun or not, make sure you're applying enough sunscreen for it to be actually effective. Most of us don't. So basically, anyone in a bathing suit needs a full ounce or a full shot glass to cover all exposed areas, including your face, every 2 hours. So we're not just talking your face, your shoulders. I mean, just think about the sunburns that you've had.
Yeah.
And the places that don't see the sun very often, if they get a sunburn like Callie's shins the other day, she was hurting.
It can put you out.
It was a hurting unit, yeah.
For sure.
People with dark skin tones and those that who tan easily shouldn't skimp either.
See, that's where I get like, once I start to get a tan going, then it keeps going that way. So then I don't think about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
don't take it for granted.
Yep. Your skin tone shouldn't decide how much sunscreen you wear. Everyone, regardless of skin color, should apply an adequate amount of sunscreen to ensure full protection. Yeah.
Okay, so then they say, do I really need to wear it if I'm going to be indoors most of the day? So even if you're not spending the afternoon at the pool, you're still guaranteed to come into contact with UV rays through the window or by peeking outside. Studies show that daily use of sunscreen can significantly lower your risk of skin cancer and signs of skin aging, such as wrinkles, hyperpigmentation, and dark spots. Yeah, and you said it earlier, just when you're in the vehicle and maybe you have one side that...
I've done that. And then you're mad because when you're driving, you can't turn to get this side even. So then you're like
just
off.
Red. You're just off.
Yeah.
So again, they basically on the reapplication when you are outside, it's just so important to try, aim for reapplying every 2 hours if you're outside. And just be aware that you're getting that sun exposure. If the sun is out,
right in there.
Even when you're inside, you are still getting some of it.
Yeah. Is there a difference between face and body sunscreen? As far as sun protection goes, the only real difference between face and body sunscreen is the size of the bottle it's sold in. You don't need to buy a separate bottle of sunscreen for your face if you don't want to.
It's probably just the packaging.
Oh, it's all about the packaging. Yeah. You should I've been doing this wrong. You should also avoid using spray sunscreens on your face since it isn't safe to inhale. Well, I don't breathe in while I'm...
Well, I know. It's going to be...
Because that's the way I like it. It's so much easier because I don't want to
It's going to get sad the further we get into this article because they're going to tell us that
everything we've been doing
of the
is
methods
wrong.
That we use, the one that we prefer is the least effective, I think.
If you're in a pinch, spray the sunscreen in your hand first and rub it in. See?
I know. I just go...
Yeah. Don't breathe.
Yep. Let it dry off.
I breathed.
Uh-oh.
No, just kidding.
Yeah. Okay. So should kids and babies use different sunscreens than adults? For babies and kids, as well as those with sensitive skin, physical sunscreens, since they're much likely to cause rashes or other allergic reactions. That's what's recommended by dermatologists. For little ones, hypoallergenic sunscreen formulated with zinc oxide is just a great choice. Yeah.
And they say that it's easier to use the spray on the kids because they might not sit still long enough to get it in all the places that you need.
Here's something that they say, though. When you're doing the spray, and I think I've been doing this wrong, you need to spray until the skin actually glistens to make sure that you've got enough on there.
Oh, yeah.
You need to be able to see it, man.
Ooh.
So
then I feel greasy and gross.
I know, but your skin will be protected.
Oh, well, then when I walk in here all glossed up and gross and greasy... It's not because I didn't take a shower. It's because I am protecting my beautiful skin.
Yes. Maybe you could do like a face one that you, like a lotion type or cream type that you put on your face and then use the spray on everything else.
No, that's too many. That's
too many things.
Too many.
Okay. All right. You win.
Should I be worried about harmful ingredients in my sunscreen? This is what I was talking about earlier. So basically, active ingredients in sunscreen are vigorously tested by the FDA all the time. But they agree that chemical absorbers are more likely to cause skin irritation. So if you have a skin condition such as eczema or rosacea, or you're prone to allergic reactions, stick with sunscreen that uses zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. Fragrances are also irritating to many people, so a physical sunscreen that's fragrance-free and hypoallergenic is ideal.
Okay, so how can you choose the right sunscreen for your skin type?
Yeah.
So basically, two things that are super important. Choose broad spectrum and choose an SPF that's at least 30. From there, you want to consider the factors that are important to use, whether you have skin conditions or you want to use a stick or a cream or a spray. But basically, broad spectrum, SPF of at least 30.
Righto.
Most important.
Right. Oh, don't forget your neck.
Yeah, don't forget your neck.
And evidently, for the creepy skin, you go down onto your chestals, too.
We've got to have a camera on Alyssa at some point.
Yes.
Her faces are the best.
Yes.
All right. Stick, spray, or lotion sunscreen. What's better to use? So, first of all, some sunscreen is better than none at all, but not all sunscreens provide the same amount of protection. So, lotions typically provide the most coverage because they're easy to squeeze or pour and squeeze out of a bottle and spread widely on your skin. It's hard to miss a spot as long as you can reach that spot with your or someone else's hand. Now, I just be careful who you ask because it's kind of personal. Anyway, but they tend to contain the most protective and least harmful ingredients such as zinc oxide. The stick sunscreens, they're not bad, but it can be easier to miss spots because a lot of those sticks are, they're more narrow and you have to do a lot more work to get full coverage. This is the one that I don't like. Spray sunscreens generally are not a good idea. I'm like, what? I'm out on this article because that's the one that I like to use. Most of the sunscreen that exits the container doesn't make contact with your skin because it gets scattered into the air from the light or like light airflow or the wind. It means that most of your skin won't get enough protection and you'll have to reapply more frequently. I just basically say, just do a good job when you're putting it on.
Pay attention.
Pay attention. Yeah. And yeah. Does sunscreen expire?
I've wondered that many, many times because every year I go to where the sunscreens from last year were, and I'm like, well, are these any good anymore? So let's find out. Most sunscreens have an expiration date listed on their container. The ingredients that make up the sunscreen break down over time. So it's not wise to use a sunscreen past its expiration date to make sure you're getting enough coverage. But not all sunscreens have an expiration date, but this doesn't necessarily mean that they'll never expire.
Yeah. So basically, it sounds like if your sunscreen doesn't have an expiration date, you should write it down and you want to make sure or consider to discard it after 3 years. Because I think that some sunscreen manufacturers, to avoid listing an expiration date, they have to be able to provide or prove that the product can remain stable for at least 3 years. Oh. So basically, if it doesn't have an expiration date, keep it for 3 years and probably move on after that.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Other ways to cover up. At the end of the day, the best sunscreen is the one you're going to use. And if you're really looking to cover up, wear a hat, invest in sun protective clothing, and stay in the shade or indoors, especially during the brightest afternoon hours between noon and 4. So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what do you have for Grandma saying?
Oh, this one cracked me up.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And this was me this weekend when we were working cows. She's as mad as a cow having a calf with horns.
Yeah, I'd be pretty mad too.
Ow! In old farm sayings, this would mean that he or she was extremely angry about something and was being very physical in expressing it.
Oops.
That's me. I just read that and went,
end of story.
I have been identified as she's as mad as a cow having a calf with horns.
Okay.
Who knew?
Well, good. I love it, man.
Yep. There
Thank
you go.
And listeners, if you have good news stories, if you have verses you want to share, if you have any grandma sayings, we'd love to hear from you. Please email those to thecaregivenpodcast@gmail.com and go and listen. Subscribe to us if you have not yet. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get a podcast.
Here a cast, there a cast,
Everywhere
everywhere
a
a
cast.
podcast.
Yeah, just like that.
Something like that.
All right, on that note, peace out, Girl Scouts.
Have a good day.